All Might stood in that alleyway, faced with a choice that would define the future. On one side, a boy with the heart of a hero, but no power. On the other, a boy born with immense power, but a heart consumed by victory. History tells us he chose the heart. But what if, in a moment of doubt, fearing the coming darkness, he made a different calculation? What if he decided the coming war demanded a weapon first and a hero second? What if he gave one for all to Katsuki Bakugo? This isn't a story of swapped quirks. This is the story of how the symbol of peace was stillborn, and the two broken boys who had to forge a new meaning of heroism from its ashes. Remember the scene. The sludge villain. Bakugo, the golden child, choking on the manifestation of his own ego. Deku, the quirkless fanboy, moving on pure, selfless instinct. In our timeline, All Might saw his own teacher's faith reflected in Izuku's eyes. But in this one, the weight of his injury, the ghost of All for One, it clouds his judgment. He looks at Bakugo's raw explosive potential and sees a fortress. He looks at Izuku's compassion and sees a vulnerability, a liability. So, he makes the strategic choice. He offers the legacy to the boy who looks like a winner. Bakugo accepts, not with gratitude, but with a grim sense of entitlement. It's a transaction. And as for Izuku, he is left standing in the alley, not just with a broken dream, but with a profound soul-crushing betrayal. The first and most devastating question is this. When your idol hands your destiny to your tormentor, what is left to believe in? The ripples of this single decision fracture the timeline instantly. Let's follow the two paths. The Vessel of Rage. Initially, Bakugo's ego becomes a fortress. He believes the world has finally confirmed his supremacy. The UA entrance exam? He doesn't just pass, he obliterates it, but the first crack appears not in a fight, but in silence. The power is resistant. It doesn't flow, it fights him. Because one for all isn't just raw energy. It's a chorus of souls. And the vestiges are horrified. The first time Bakugo slips into the subconscious realm, it's not Nana Shimura who greets him. It's the second and third users, their spirits flaring with hostility. "You are not the one we waited for," they whisper. "You are a mistake." What happens when an unstoppable force meets 7 immovable objects living inside his own head? The result is catastrophic. During the battle trial facing a quirkless Izuku forced to rely on support gear and sheer wit, Bakugo tries to unleash a 100% smash. The vestiges resist, the feedback shatters his arm and ribs. The victory is Pyrrhic, humiliating. He wins the battle but lies in Recovery Girl's office, a king dethroned by his own crown. The question is no longer if he will break, but what will be left when he does. For Izuku, the aftermath is a quiet apocalypse. He doesn't apply to UA. What's the point? But his mother, seeing his spirit wither, makes a different call. She enrolls him in the General Studies course, a consolation prize that becomes his battlefield. And then the twist of the knife. The stress, the rage, the genetic lottery, it triggers something. In his first General Studies class, during a heated debate on hero ethics, a small, sharp pop fizzes in his palm. An explosion. A weak, pathetic echo of Bakugo's power. A late bloomer quirk born not from joy, but from pure, undiluted anguish. So, the next compelling question, how does a strategic genius wield a power he despises? The answer is terrifyingly effective. He doesn't emulate Bakugo's brute force. He becomes a tactician. He uses micro-explosions for achismatic attacks, stunning an opponent's eardrum, disrupting their balance. He uses the light and smoke for misdirection, creating phantom movements. He is a ghost, a whisper on the battlefield. When the UA Sports Festival arrives, he isn't in the hero course. He's the dark horse from Gen Ed, a boy with a quiet fury and a quirk that seems to mock the main event. And everyone, especially a struggling, furious Bakugo, is forced to watch. The ripple effect, a world off axis. The entire ecosystem of UA shifts. All Might is a ghost of a mentor, watching his masterpiece unravel, consumed with a regret that is a physical pain. He tries to guide Bakugo, but it's like trying to calm a hurricane with a whisper. The League of Villains takes a keen interest. They don't see a symbol of peace in Bakugo. They see a weapon waiting to be turned. Stain releases a manifesto declaring Bakugo the ultimate fake, the embodiment of everything wrong with hero society. And this public condemnation hits Bakugo in his only vulnerable spot, his reputation. Meanwhile, Izuku, in Gen Ed, catches the eye of a different kind of teacher, Shota Aizawa, Aizawa sees the raw, analytical talent, the ruthless efficiency. He sees a mind that should be in the hero course, and he begins a quiet, behind-the-scenes campaign to get him there, creating a new source of tension and hope. All these threads converge in the Paranormal Liberation War, and this is where our final, terrifying question is answered. Can a world built on this foundational mistake even survive? The battle begins, and Bakugo, even at an unstable 45% full cal, is a force of nature. But he is an island. He doesn't listen to commands. He charges a hyper-evolved Shigaraki alone, a green and orange missile of pure misguided rage. And he is dismantled. His attacks are predictable, his rage a weakness Shigaraki exploits with a sadistic smile. As Shigaraki's fingers close around Bakugo's face, about to decay him, the vestiges make their final, desperate move. They don't show him visions of past users. They flood his mind with the present battle. He sees through their forced connection Izuku Midoriya. We see Izuku on a different part of the battlefield, his Gen Ed uniform, traded for makeshift armor. He's not throwing knockout punches. He's directing an overwhelmed Neijire with a concussive blast to her flank, correcting her trajectory. He's using a series of micro-explosions to signal to Sun Eater, creating a diversion that saves a pro-hero's life. He has become the unlooked-for central nervous system of the hero's resistance. The true successor, not by power but by spirit. In that moment, Bakugo doesn't have a change of heart. He has a horrifying soul-rending epiphany. He was never the hero. He was the decoy, the blunt instrument. And the weapon, without a wielder, is useless. With his last ounce of strength, his body broken, his spirit shattered, he doesn't scream an attack name. He screams a single strangled word into the comms. A coordinate, a piece of tactical data only Izuku would understand. It's not a pass of the torch, it's a surrender, an admission that all might was wrong. And he was never right. In the aftermath, the victory is bitter. Bakugo survives, but the complex is gone, replaced by a hollow, quiet understanding. He spends the rest of his life not as the symbol of peace, but as its most powerful and penitent guardian, forever trying to earn a title he was never meant to hold. And Izuku, he is finally, rightfully, transferred to the hero course. He never receives one for all, he doesn't need to. He proves that the legacy was never about the power itself. It was about the heart that carries it. All Might searched for a vessel strong enough to hold a quirk, and in doing so, he almost broke the one heart strong enough to truly embody it, because a hero isn't defined by the power they hold, but by the hope they inspire without it.